XYZ fam!
Hey guys!
So we are, just chilling tonight. We're on the floor actually.
Backstory to this video, by the way.
Yeah. What's the backstory?
We posted a video about our wedding night and our honeymoon experience and
They never see it.
Our first time doing the Jerusalem. Sips water.
Yeah.
And let's just say that a lot of persons could identify with our experience. A lot of persons were happy for us having had a good experience. But a lot of persons also confessed that their experience wasn't half as good. And we realized that there are some valid reasons why people don't enjoy their first time having sex as much as, we make it out to be.
Right.
So we thought we needed to do due diligence to these people and hear their thoughts and perhaps react to a few of their stories. So Zara has seen the stories. I
Xaundre
haven't.
hasn't.
So
yeah,
let's hear what the people have to say.
And another reason why we really wanted to do it too, Zon, is when we shared our story, one of our major objectives was to edify those who were coming into it and to help them to kind of understand what it was like. And for us, that was good, but it's not like that for everybody, and we don't want to paint the picture that it is always good, because sometimes it's not.
Right, and then when you don't have such an amazing experience, then you feel bad, and
you think about why this happened to you and what you do wrong. And also, we did a lot of kind of conditioning before, so possibly that could have been why ours was that good. Anyways, we just wanted to break the stereotypes. It's not always fancy, it's not always romantic actually, and we knew that everybody not gonna want to come and talk their business in the same way that we are just out here talking our business, because we don't care. Okay, so we decided to make it anonymous, and for all those who gave their stories, thank you so much for participating. Anyways, if you're interested in this type of content, which I know you are,
you're always interested in this kind of content.
You're always interested in this.
So just smash the like button
and continue watching
and subscribe. What happens when high school lovebirds get married?
They move to a new city and start a YouTube channel, of course.
Welcome to Adventures of XYZ. I'm Xaundre.
And I'm Zara.
I'm a doctor.
And I'm a lawyer.
But we both just really love sharing our faith and going on cool adventures.
So we created this channel to share our journey as we attempt to use biblical principles to navigate life.
And have a whole lot of fun doing it.
So, come along with us! If a look is private.
Alright, I'm not looking. Alright, read the first one.
Alright. This person said, I was so scared my first time, I literally had a mental block. I was diagnosed with vaginismus. I finally had sex a year and a half into our marriage. It felt so freeing, like a burden was lifted off my shoulders when it finally happened. It took a lot of lube, prayer, and a dilator to get me to that point. We now have a baby, so we've come a long way. God is great, and the moment I cried out to him, he started to work on me. You never expect it. Me start out strong. What's the first thing that came to your mind? Vaginismus. For those who don't know, Xaundre is not going to tell you what vaginismus is.
We assume that I know what vaginismus is.
Because you go to school. You go to school for these things.
Vaginismus is actually an archaic name for the condition. The newer name, according to the DSM-5, as a Diagnostic and Statistics, I think is the name, manual, is basically what the American Psychological or Psychiatric Association used to diagnose these conditions, right? And basically vaginismus is now called genitopelvic pain penetration syndrome, and it's where there is spasming. Basically the walls of the vagina literally close up whenever anything attempts to penetrate. So it could be a tampon, an examining finger, or the phallus, meaning the penis. Can be any of those things.
What about when you go for a genital examination?
Examining finger, or a speculum, whatever it is, anything going inside. But the truth is, it's not really a homogeneous condition. A lot of different people have varying like manifestations of it. So for some people, it can be only the male genital that when that is penetrating, it causes the problem. Some people can include tampons. Some people can include an examining finger or a speculum or whatever it is. But it's a really bad condition because you actually have no control over it. You, the person experiencing it, have no control over it, and that can be frustrating for you, the person who have the condition, and also for your partner who is probably hoping to have sex but unable to have sex with you because of this really debilitating condition. Suffice it to say, it can be from an organic cause, meaning there can be something locally wrong, meaning some nerve problem or some inflammatory problem going on in the area of the vulva or the vagina, the same general area there. Or it could actually be from psychological trauma that you would have endured previously, and it is an entirely psychological condition in that case, in which case both of them can be treated. No necessary, we can't necessarily guarantee a cure, but both of them can be and should be treated because they can cause serious problems. As in your marriage can cause serious problems.
Definitely, because this person said a year and a half.
Please go and see your OBGYN.
So basically all of the medical things that we just said, it means when you have vaginismus, nothing can go in it block.
It block?
It block up.
It block. Okay, no, I wouldn't say it block. It a close up.
It a close
it
up.
A close up.
Oh, that's what happens.
Whenever there is anything attempting to penetrate it,
right,
it a close up.
The first time I actually heard about it was on TikTok, you know, where a lot of us learn these days. She had religious trauma, and sometimes with very good intentions. Actually, I don't think as a church when we do these things we do with bad intentions, but sex is bad, sex is bad, sex is bad. We paint it as stay away from it. It's such a, you know, like kind of,
it's a taboo topic.
It's a taboo topic first of all. Nobody talks about it, and then now you're expected to just run in
and just magically
know what to do, and you must spin on your head top and all of these things all of a sudden.
You never spin on your head top.
This isn't about me. Focus. You know some jinx. If me try to spin on my head top, I know me gonna drop, and it's gonna be more funny than romantic. Anyways, that's not the point. It's like you don't automatically know how to let go of that. So you have been resisting it for so long that you don't read up, you don't try to kind of pull your mind away from it. And one of the questions I asked was if there was anything that she could do that would change it. And the person said mindset. It was hard to relax because I was used to being on guard all my life. Also, growing up hearing don't have sex before marriage, so when the time came,
same person you're talking about?
Same person.
Okay.
I did not want to, and also not being in a relaxed state most likely contributed to it being very painful and uncomfortable.
Suffice it to say that the DSM-5 also spoke about that, like in under the causative agents, I suppose,
right?
Things that can cause it. It actually spoke about the fact that people who have had a bad picture of sex painted their entire life,
wow,
when it is their opportunity to have sex, they can actually develop vaginismus. And it's in that case, it's purely psychological. It's a real problem though, you know, don't get me wrong, it's a real problem, but it's purely psychological. There's no organic issue, but there's a functional issue because of the psychology behind it. So we actually do a lot of harm when we vilify sex in that regard.
Yep, that's so true. Alright, so for this one, both of them were virgins. Stop, it's supposed to be a reaction.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
So for this one, both of them were virgins, right? Our first time was about a month after our wedding. All attempts were extremely painful for me, the wife, even though we engaged in foreplay and I would get moist. It was extremely painful. My husband suggested we go to the doctor. I guess he feared something was wrong with me. I went because I heard the doctor could remove my hymen. When the doctor showed me his tools to perform this, I totally freaked out. there was no way. He advised
I
us.
can just imagine the look on her face when
right?
she sees a speculum and she sees scissors and wow.
He advised us to buy KY jelly, and for those who don't know, KY jelly is a form of lubricant. And he spoke privately to my husband. He also advised me to practice breathing, during that time. Well, it happened about a week after the doctor's visit on a chair, and based on the situation, she was on top, and this way she could be able to pace. She had control, and she said over time it definitely got better as they learned more about each other's body. And when asked what she think, and I'm glad that we got the perspective from two virgins. The first one was from when the woman alone was a virgin. This one, both of them were virgins in a situation where sometimes none of them don't know what to do. And she said what would have made it better is more candid information, proper premarital counseling. In those days, internet was not available, so it was a while back, and the books we read were very shallow in their perspective.
What's the name of that book? The Act of Marriage.
The Act of Marriage. And I'm reading a new one now, because the more I want to learn more, and especially as I interact with you guys on the internet and stuff, and the ladies who talk to me through Instagram. This one is called The Good Girl's Guide to Great Sex by Sheila Ray Gregory, and there's one that says A Good Guy's Guide to Great Sex, and I'll put the links to the books below. I have it on Audible because I listen to it as an audiobook, but it's been an amazing read so far. It gives you a lot of information.
Tell me about it when you're finished reading it here.
Yeah, but you have to read the guy's one. Or listen to the audiobook. You can listen to the audiobook.
Should I, guys?
Yes, you should. But I'm glad that she said that more candid information, because that's why we have outlets like these.
Yep.
And another thing that I did that I learned from a friend is that I went to the gynecologist before, and we did a pap smear. Even though I wasn't sexually active, so I really never needed to do a pap smear. But if I had any form of vaginismus before, at that time, I would have known. And that was like months before the wedding. And I would have now started the whole therapy from them time there. But I never had to. And I think that's kind of one of the things with this whole going to the gynecologist. Somebody asked me, why do you have to go to the gynecologist and stuff like that? I was like, you don't have to, but I think it's a good step, because you
don't know what you don't know, though.
Yeah,
you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You might have, I guess this one is a far cry, but
right.
You might have 2 little spots on there that you don't even realize
That's true.
could be something.
That's
you understand?
True. That's true.
You might think that this is how it's supposed to be because this is how you've seen it your entire life, and the gynecologist who has seen 100 or 200 in the last 2 weeks
knows that something is wrong. Exactly.
So just go, guys. Just go.
And being relaxed and everything, that is something that it takes time, especially when you're in a culture that has told you that it is bad for this entire time. So reading these books, having these conversations, and being open and discussing, and it really helps.
And honestly, for the guys, I'll say there's nothing wrong with being clueless, right? But just don't stay clueless. Like, go and learn. And I know that most places that want to teach you are not particularly are probably not places that you'd like to find yourself. Yeah. So that's why I'd recommend reading books and following YouTube channels like ours.
Because we'd always have a book to suggest.
Yeah. I'll say also that when I started med school and I was so clueless, I didn't realize how clueless I was until I went to a class that was talking about sex, and I realized that everybody else could have kind of identified with the conversation, and I was just so clueless. They were talking about this build up and this climax, and when they said the word orgasm, I was just like, I've heard that, but what does that mean? Like, I was so clueless. And my first time attempting to put in a catheter in a female, that's something that goes into your urethra, that's basically the tube that carry urine from the bladder to where you can let it out. I could not find it. I literally could not find it. The nurse was just like, Doc, at the time I was like 3rd-year medical student. It's like, Doc, you having a problem there? I'm like, yeah, actually, I don't know where to look. And she's like, all right, no say something, nobody here.
That's funny.
No say something, nobody here, but it's right here, because you see it in the anatomy books, but then
it's not the same
in real life, and I genuinely did not know where to look.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
that's
understand.
fine.
And it's fine.
But just go and learn
from the right places.
Exactly.
And that's why we always recommend these books. And it's interesting because a lot of these, we got a lot of responses, and we're not going to read all of them, but a lot of people said it was painful, they were scared. With my husband, it wasn't anything special for me. I felt that the words he was saying were just so that we can have sex and not because they are true, because I never really believed them myself.
Yikes.
Being used by men before left a mental scar where words rarely meant anything, even if they are true.
Alright, hold on there. We're reacting as you go along, right?
Yeah.
So, hold on, stick a pin. This is somebody who has been scarred
Yeah.
by bad relationships in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And they will definitely manifest themselves when you go to bed with somebody who you think you're in love with.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not spent the time leading up to this moment, building trust in each other, building affirmation of that love, you know.
And more than that, Zon, working on your mental battles. And you remember, I don't know if we would have posted a pre-engagement counseling video before we post this or after we post this, but we touched about it, that sometimes you think you're ready for marriage or you're ready to get to talk about marriage when you're not, because you have some issues that you need to deal with first. And going into a marriage that and I mean, you can work through these things while you're into the marriage, you know, but I feel like even if you're in some friendships and you have issues, you have to take a break from that friendship to go deal with your issues, because then that becomes a burden on you and you can't really enjoy it.
Hey guys, real quick, I really want you guys to know that we are having a masterclass coming up where we're talking about pre-engagement counseling, everything you need to know there. And you can sign up now for the waiting list. Just hit the link in the description below to add your name there, and you will be one of the first people to hear when we drop it, and we have a lot of cool surprises coming there. Anyway, if you're enjoying this video so far, remember to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ensure that you share this with somebody who will benefit. Back to the video. And
the person also went on to say, not waiting left me at times comparing him to others and not giving him a fair chance. And I really appreciated that this person mentioned that, because it won't always be where you waited like us. As we had mentioned, things happen, we fall by the wayside and we made mistakes, and all of us aren't virgins. But when you're going into a marriage, you should go into it with a renewed mind. But it's not easy to get there. It's not easy to get there, and it's just a part of the reality, and that's something that you might have to work extra hard on.
And a lot of people don't see the benefit in waiting for marriage to have sex, but here's a clear example of what may happen if you don't wait. You end up with so many experiences that by the time you get to marriage, your husband is not your only benchmark. And so you start comparing his performance with others, and instead of being able to kind of build through and learn together and grow together, then you end up comparing him to somebody who may have had sex a million times in their lives. Or you may have ended up so scarred because your previous experiences were not quite as...
They weren't good.
They weren't good.
Yeah.
Basically.
And when I asked, what do you think would have made it different? She said, I wish I had waited and I knew my body more. Not be so ashamed of nakedness. Wow. Wish we had more open conversations about our likes and dislikes.
This is a recurring theme. Sign up for our pre-engagement counseling masterclass. We need to talk about these things.
Wish I could unlearn so much of what I was taught about sex being for the man.
It's definitely not just for the man.
And actually put myself in it and enjoy. But Zon, you have to remember, you know, that this is years of learning this.
Yeah.
Put myself in it and enjoy it. See it as a form of worship and a bonding agent, but work in progress. I think when we see sex as a gift from God and not just for release, maybe we or I will be more receptive of it. And I tell you that it covers it in the act of marriage, and it covers it in the Good Girl's Guide to Great Sex and the Good Guy's Guide to Great Sex. And what it does, it tries to help you to pull your mind away from what society has painted. So for years, not just the church, but society in general has painted sex as something for the man. and the woman positioning herself in a way where she needs to provide this for the man, and she needs to look a certain way for the man, and she needs to, even when she's not in the mood, do this for the man. And it's all about the man. It's all about saving your virginity for your husband. It's all about making sure that you're pure so that somebody picks you. It's always framed like that. But what about understanding that it is for both people? I was very excited, but when we started, I was like, nope, this ain't gonna fit. But my husband was very patient and made me uncomfortable. It was just not going in. I was so overwhelmed. I started crying and we called it a night. Next morning we tried again and it was uncomfortable, but there was progress. I still didn't think it went all the way through TMI. Anyways, during our honeymoon it got better, and in time I started to enjoy myself.
That sounds like a natural progression. That sounds like a natural progression.
And then she said, I think if I had done more research and knew what to expect, then it could have been better. Expectations versus what actually happens.
Yeah.
And so overall, I would say it was an 8 out of 10 experience because of the nerves. So
can't fight that.
Yeah, can't fight that. And only the wife was. And different people were talking about it was not as glamorous. Both of them were virgins, and past trauma causing a lot of women actually spoke about that. About vaginismus. Yeah. Yep.
Genital pelvic pain penetration syndrome. You understand, guys?
It just can't go in. Cannot go in. Simplify it. Anybody not gonna look. Anybody not gonna genital blah blah blah. It can't go in. This one I actually got it in a voice note. Okay. And I wanted to bring it up because in this situation the husband was a virgin but the wife wasn't. And I love this perspective because you don't hear it very often. But the wife would have fallen before and the husband didn't. When he came into the marriage with a lot of burden on him, feeling as if he wouldn't be able to live up to her expectations. So, and then she also came into the marriage kind of feeling bad, and that guilt weighed down on her. And she had to be kind of coaxing the husband, telling him that you're okay, I'm not comparing it to anybody, you know, I'm trying to clear my slate, you know, God has already forgiven me. I am now coming in with a fresh perspective. Let's just learn this thing all, because she, even though she wasn't a virgin, they did wait.
Oh, the two of them
waited.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, so that is like a perspective that we don't hear often, and I wanted to say what would be your response to that?
Honestly, guys, it's a tough situation to be in,
yeah.
But I really think that with the proper conversations and preparation leading up to it, doing the necessary work, even getting counseling, it's something you really can and should work through.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of weight to be bringing.
A lot of weight.
As the lady feeling like, you know, there's no hope for you because you've already let the cat out of the bag, you know? And then as the man feeling like there's no hope for you because she's already seen it all, and you're not very confident in your abilities, and that puts a lot of pressure on both of you guys. So I think you guys really need to work through that before, you know. Ideally you'd want to.
I mean, they're way ahead now, and them have kids and stuff, so they obviously figured it out. But I can just,
but for the other person in that similar
situation, but I can just imagine when you're going into a marriage and you're feelings, I think at the base of it is forgiving yourself, because God has already forgiven us. Sometimes we bring burdens.
Recycled virgin.
Sometimes we allow ourselves to feel bad about things that we should have let go of. Yes, you messed up. Yes, you made a mistake. And that's what the enemy wants you to believe. He wants you to believe that you're unforgivable. He wants you to believe that you're in a state where you're dirty. But no, you're not, because your worth is not tied to having premarital sex. And there's something new that you can learn about by being with your husband, or your wife. There are other new experiences. And if you feel burdened down and if you feel guilty, then you won't be able to be as vulnerable, as open. And then because the devil love attack this institution of marriage, so that's where it starts. So you forgive yourself because God has already forgiven you. And this goes for widespread for anybody who's going into a marriage when you would have fallen by the wayside. It's already done. And when you have that as a foundation that is already done, it's now easier. And so,
and to see your current situation as the start of a new chapter.
Yeah.
Try to
Clean slate.
yeah. Try to establish that and don't like hide it from each other or sweep it under the rug, you know. Deal with it. Talk about it. Establish that it's a thing. And try, and especially if you're on the other side, you know, try to establish that, you know, it's okay. Thanks for sharing it, but that's behind us now. Let's move on past that. It happened. It is what it is. God has forgiven you. I have forgiven you. You have forgiven yourself, hopefully. Forgive yourself. Let's just move on.
Let's just
move on.
Yeah. Alright, so I know I said I had one more, but two more. This one was talking about the fact that the husband was a little excited, so it never really worked quite as well at first because he kept on getting shy, kind of having erectile dysfunction.
The husband was a little excited but so, shy.
So you know, he excited. So because him too excited, not never the, never the books.
Him too excited, so never the.
Him excited but him shy at the same time. I don't know. I just read the story. Didn't quite work at first. For the first couple of tries, I think tiredness, anxiousness, overexcitement may have contributed. Everybody's body reacts differently, and that's why it's so important for you to kind of get into the zone too and let go of expectations.
I think the biggest thing is establishing that our experience will necessarily be unique. Yeah. And be okay with that.
And it's okay. Yeah. And I think that's really what, more than anything, that's what we wanted this video to say. It look like ours, it won't look like other people, and that is also okay. Wife's perspective. I had lost my virginity 3 years after meeting my husband. 3 years before meeting my husband while I was in college in the US. I was young and naive in a new country by myself, and it was really rough at first. I ended up getting into a situation where I was manipulated into having sex with someone I didn't even love. After that experience, I started feeling like sex had lost its meaning for me because I had kept myself all these years just to have my purity thrown out the window just like that. When I got married 3 years later, I was experiencing a hindrance mentally to fully open up, enjoy the space. I had to keep telling myself that it was okay and I don't have to hold back anything because it's not wrong to have sex with my husband. Sometimes I wonder if it was also the fact that while growing up in church, sex was painted as a bad thing that I should stay away from.
Can we stick a pin?
I'm just done. So I was just always paranoid about sex and I would suppress my feelings concerning it. Done.
Yo, we do a lot of harm by painting sex as a bad thing.
Yeah, that is true.
So let's just demystify that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing
to be experienced between husbands.
Exactly. Yeah. Just do it within the confines of marriage, within the institution for which God had created it, and establish a normalcy around that. That's all. At
any point, so that's it. So those are all the questions. Those are all the submissions. Thank you so much for submitting yours.
I'm sure that's not everything.
No,
but that's just everything that we are.
Yeah, there are a lot more. But I just kind of picked out some of the we can't go through everything because and the other thing is a lot of people said very similar things. The thing that really stood out to me as a woman too is the whole feeling comfortable in your body and being comfortable with nakedness and knowing your body and understanding your body. Self-worth and confidence are something that a lot of us struggle with in different ways, and when it comes to like body image and body consciousness, that's something that you can't get that from a man. Yes, a man can be able to reaffirm you, and maybe that should it's not a dear church girl video, but yes, a man can be there to reaffirm you, but you have to reaffirm yourself because it's how you feel from within that will be able to kind of help to propel the way you walk, you talk, you look, you behave, and even I guess show up in the bedroom. Yeah. What else stood out for you?
Vaginismus is real.
Yeah.
Even though it has a new name. Genitopelvic pain penetration disorder or syndrome. Okay, cool.
You're committed to it.
The point is, it is real.
You are so committed to the new name.
It have a new name.
Okay. I can't go in.
And because it's real, like, don't feel bad about the fact that it's there, but ensure that you have it worked through, and the place to start would be with your OBGYN, your gynecologist. Please go and see a doctor before you decide to get married, or after deciding to get married. Go and see a doctor and do a proper checkup, especially your gynecologist,
like 3 months or so
before you actually get married.
Yeah. And the act of marriage actually gives you exercises to do by
like
yourself in advance to kind of prepare you. So that was a good book, good read. At any point, do you ever feel like we're doing something wrong because of, you know, like years of being told that, or kind of associating this?
I don't understand the question.
When me and you, sometimes, you know, like how the other day you try to kiss me in public and I was like, oh, I hear that Zara, we're married. and I'm like, oh, oops.
I think sometimes we just dark. And I think our darkness is really coming from a place of ignorance.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've been associating ourselves with people who are well-meaning but misguided.
And also dark. Yeah.
So let's not be dark.
Yeah. But yes, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you learned on this episode, and we really hope that it has added some value to your life or your future life. Please like, share, and subscribe, and send this video to a friend.
We'll see you next time on Adventures of XYZ.
Bye guys.